Story 1. Update: I 38 male just found out that my brother 19 male has been perving on my wife 37 female. Original post. Background: my brother has been staying with us since lockdown after his university closed. He couldn't stay with our parents because they just sold the house and moved to a one-bedroom apartment, and our sister lives in a different part of the country. He was the oops baby, so I hope that explains the age gap. My wife and I have a 5-bedroom home, but currently don't have children yet. We decided to adopt 2 kids in our 40s, so we let him stay here. My brother has always been different. He's a bit of a loner and doesn't have a lot of friends outside of his online group. He's a shy, geeky kid, but he's otherwise alright, or so I thought when you get to know him. So here's what happened. The Wi-Fi doesn't quite reach my brother's room, so he usually does the schoolwork and other stuff in the dining room. A few nights ago, I was walking to the fridge after waking up in the middle of the night. Wife and I sleep early, and saw my brother working on something out, but as I got closer, I saw a very compromising picture of my wife, cleavage shot as she was gardening. He noticed me and quickly closed the window like he was watching porn. I was too shell-shocked to say anything at the time, and he just smiled awkwardly and ran to his room with the laptop. When I realized that something was up, I knew I had to find out. The next day I asked my brother to pick up some groceries and some lunch for us, and while he was away I went to his room, something I've never done since he moved in, and well, it wasn't pretty. I saw a couple of my wife's bras and some of her panties, which I can only assume he uses to pleasure himself. I took his laptop and decided to snoop. I knew his password because I borrowed his Crunchyroll account to watch this anime my friend recommended. I don't usually watch anime. There I saw some of the most sickening entries I've ever read. There were pictures of my wife in a towel, her working out, her in compromising positions, etc. All taken without her consent by the looks of it. The effer even logs on every time he touches himself to the images of my wife. The creepiest part, he sometimes listens to us when we have sex. My wife can be a bit loud, but we didn't think it would be a problem since his bedroom was in a different part of the house, the guest room. I left the room feeling like I needed a shower. It was absolutely disgusting. Now I don't know what to do. I find myself fighting the urge to pummel him into the middle of next week every time I see him. I haven't told my wife yet because I'm 100% sure she will feel violated and disgusted, so I want to find the best solution first before doing so. I so desperately want to kick him out, but he has nowhere else to go. Even if I do, what should I tell my parents? The truth? This will most likely break the family apart. I do plan on telling my wife soon, but if I do, I can almost guarantee that she would want nothing to do with him and would never want to visit the family if he's around. So I'm effing lost right now. Any advice will help. Still fighting the urge to beat my brother to a bloody pulp. Edit: if you're wondering, I did take pictures as proof. Small update: I told my wife. The Redditors who said that I should tell her first before anything, because she was the victim, were absolutely right. I'm giving her all the power to decide what to do about it. A lot has happened, but there are still things that need to be settled. Too long to add here and too incomplete to make a new update. Hopefully we'll have everything settled tomorrow or the day afterwards. I'll write the update once everything is settled and I calm down. No, I'm not going to beat up my brother, but I have thought about it. And to the people asking for the pics, you're disgusting. Hope the women in your life are proud of you. That's my wife. Please have some respect. Now for the comments. This person says the only reason you busted him that night was because he was working in the part of the house with Wi-Fi. No way he would risk having that laptop out of his bedroom unless he needed the internet. I hope it's not true, but those pics are likely now in places other than just the laptop. Make a copy of everything. Edit: oops, pressed enter too soon on everything. But you need that evidence. Take pics of what you found in his room and where you found it. Take it away. Tell your parents to collect him, confront him, and then kick him out. He absolutely does not nor can't be trusted to be in your house or around your wife. Also tell her ASAP. She'll feel betrayed if you kick him out without telling her. She deserves to know, and if you're not telling her because you're afraid of how she'll react, then that only proves that he needs to go and you need to tell her. I'm sorry, man. I agree with this. Make copy of all of them and then delete it. And then save some other pics in the same name and then delete them too. Otherwise, he will be able to get them back. I wouldn't want the brother to take his laptop with him when he goes. He knows how many places he's hidden images. Thing needs to be purged after securing evidence. I can't imagine dealing with this. It leaves me feeling anxious and ill. And please take back all of your wife's clothes from him. She'll probably want to burn it all. I'd talk to her, let her take control of some of this. I would want to know, and I would absolutely want to make sure he kept nothing of mine. And really, I'd burn the stuff. How awful. I'd probably contact the police and see about a restraining order at the very least. This brother is an adult, so this is so far from okay. Added lots of discussion under my comment about the legality of things. Taking a laptop being theft and deleting images possibly being destruction of property. Absolutely disgusts me to imagine creep photos being protected. No way. Also, I imagine the awkwardness of the brother being confronted about being a perv and losing your home would be enough to sway him to agree to delete pictures willingly and get rid of anything else. He's taken also the legality of kicking him out, whether he'd leave on his own volition is a big factor, and having the risk of being charged with a crime might help push him out the door. I think ops should seek out legal advice for the housing situation, laptop files, and cell phone, as someone pointed out. But I would not be able to stop myself from deleting inappropriate images of myself or a loved one like this. I mean, why the F not? Not his SHT to take and keep. F that. Now for the update. Update? This update was long overdue, so I apologize to everyone who waited for this. I've had daily messages asking me about what's happening, and now that I'm in a better place to actually talk about it, I can tell everyone about what happened. First of all, thank you to the Redditors who pointed out that I should tell my wife first before confronting my brother. You were right. She did appreciate the fact that I gave her control over the situation. I told my wife the next day after posting it, and needless to say, she did not take it well. She says that she feels violated and unsafe in her own home. See, the thing is, my wife and I have been together for almost 15 years, so we literally saw this kid grow up. We took him out to the movies, to the beach, etc. We sometimes even joked to my parents that he was our practice baby. My wife has a tendency to distrust people in general, as a lot of people in her life have let her down in the past. Imagine how hurt and betrayed she was when she found out someone she trusted and loved dearly betrayed her like that. Honestly, if I wasn't consoling my wife, then I probably would have gone through with the initial idea and beat the ever-living crap out of my brother after she calmed down and went to sleep. I called my sister and talked about the situation. My sister and I are close, given that we're Irish twins. I feel like she needed to know because she has 2 teenage daughters herself, and who knows what my brother would do to them if given the chance. We talked, and she was clearly mad. She loves my wife like a sister, and they're quite close themselves. She said that she would support whatever decision we make, and that our brother would also be unwelcome at her place for the foreseeable future. Then we confronted my brother. At first he denied it, but when I showed him the evidence, he started ugly crying and begging us to forgive him. I gave him an ultimatum. Either he lets me in his phone, laptop, and delete everything, or I call the police. There was so much more SHT on his computer than I initially thought. So many more stolen pictures of my wife that were definitely taken without consent. The effer even recorded the audio of us having sex. Who does that? So after hours of me looking for as much SHT as possible, and pretty much clearing out most of his hard drive, he eventually left without much of a fight. Oh, and we definitely threw out my wife's defiled underwear, and are most likely going to have the room he stayed in cleaned professionally. I checked, and thankfully he didn't have any hidden cameras anywhere. Oh, and if you're wondering how he got pictures of my wife in a towel, the shower for the masters does not have hot water, so my wife uses the shared one in the same area. She would usually walk out of the bathroom with just a towel on and go change in our walk-in closet. This shouldn't have been a problem because the guest room was in a different part of the house far from the main bedrooms and had its own bathroom, so my brother had no reason for being there. Needless to say, my wife is still shaken up about the whole thing, which is why I didn't think about writing an update until now. I'm sorry, but my wife's well-being is my priority above everything else. My mom eventually called me asking what happened. She seemed very confused, so I figured my brother didn't tell her anything at all. I told her what happened, and needless to say, it did not end very well. She kept asking me to forgive my brother and to take him back in. She ranted about how difficult it would be to support him and how what I'm doing is breaking the family apart. I let her talk until I eventually said my brother would no longer be welcome in my home. I told her that she needed to get him therapy, and that until then there's no chance we would ever see him. My mom told me that she talked to my sister about it, and I said, good luck, she's mad at him too. Not sure what's going to happen to our family now. The reason why we got the big house was because we wanted everyone to come over during the holidays and stay with us, but I'm not sure if my parents will at this point, and there's no chance my brother is ever coming back anytime soon. Thankfully, my sister is 100% on my side, and we're going to talk about what we're doing for Thanksgiving soon. My wife hasn't really been the same either, but she's getting better now that my brother is gone. We're talking about therapy, which is something she's very willing to try out. We took a drive to the beach earlier, chill guys, we didn't leave the car and talked about the future. We both agreed that after this whole COVID thing is over, we're going to finally start our family with kids. We want to. Being a mom is something that she's always wanted to be, but we both wanted to be financially secure enough to give them a good life, and for us also to be in a position where we didn't have to work so much and just spend time with them. The sparkle in her eyes when we talked about our lives together with kids told me that while things aren't good right now, we're going to be okay. I honestly can't wait to be a dad myself. So yeah, long story short, brother is gone, wife is still sad, sister is on my side, but mom isn't, and I'm going to be a dad in a few years. Thanks to everyone who gave me their advice. It honestly helped me to clear my head and make the right decision to tell my wife first. Oh, and to answer some questions that may come up. No, we did not go to the police. My brother deleted everything voluntarily and left without a trace. I'm sure the pictures are still out there somewhere, but thankfully they aren't too explicit that it would severely damage my wife's reputation, and no, we aren't going to try and get pregnant or anything like that. We plan on adopting, which is something we both talked about early on, so again, thanks to everyone who messaged and commented. I may not have read everything, nor have I replied to everyone, but rest assured you are all greatly appreciated. Story 2. Am I the a-hole for telling my flatmate that I want to move out because her boyfriend is going to live with us for 2 months? Plus update, original post. My flatmate messaged me the other day before she was due to arrive back home from the holiday to let me know that her boyfriend would be coming back to live with us for 2 months, and he would be finding a job while he lived with us. He moved overseas to live and work for a year, and then if things didn't work out in the other country, he would probably move back here with her. I was really pissed off. She let me know in less than 24 hours that he would be living with us, and she didn't ask either, she just let me know that it was happening. I said I wasn't okay with it, and I was really clear that this is completely unfair and disrespectful. Our house is quite small, and I didn't agree to live with 3 people in a small 2-bedroom house, let alone a couple. She said sorry, but she will do what she can to make sure that I'm not inconvenienced. I let her know that if this was happening, he had to pay his fair share. I wasn't happy, and I wouldn't be around much. We used to spend a lot of time together hanging out and watching similar TV shows, and I let her know that I wouldn't do that anymore and instead would just do my own thing in my room or stay out of the house. She said that she agreed with me, and she would talk to him. When I got home after work, they were both there like nothing was wrong. When her and I finally got to talk on our own, I repeated everything that I said, and she agreed with everything and let me know it's only for 2 months, hopefully. I asked if he was moving back because I would move out. I don't want to be living in limbo. She said he wasn't, and she didn't want to change her life when he would leave. I asked if she was sure because he's here for 2 months, and I seemingly got no choice in this, so what if he decides to stay, and then what happens to me? She said that she spoke with him, and he's really depressed that things didn't work out how we fought in the other country, and she doesn't want to push him or upset him. I let her know I still wasn't happy about this situation, and she agreed. Then nothing happened. I said I wouldn't hang out as much. I'm annoyed, and I don't want to get so frustrated that I end up saying hurtful things because I feel stuck and unhappy. I thought about it, and even though it's only been a week, I'm still really uncomfortable about it, so I decided to tell her that I want to move out, or he needs to find somewhere else to stay for 2 months, because I don't want to be uncomfortable in my own house. I feel bad because I know that I've put her in a SHTTY situation because she obviously hasn't spoken to him about all this, or she has, and they are both pretending everything is fine, making my feelings about this seem very dismissed. Also, if he does move back overseas after 2 months, she's then stuck with a lease she probably can't afford on her own. But I also don't want to be living with a lease she probably can't afford on her own. But I also don't want to be living for 2 months in a situation I never agreed to, and then possibly at the end of it, having to find a new place anyway.